Hello, and welcome to the Catcast with your host, as always, Cat Kennison, to bring you another fascinating podcast. I was thinking about doing politics today, and I had some stuff, and I was like, I don't really want to do politics. I want to do cat stuff. And so I thought, how can I do cat stuff? Well, we can go through all the cats that Cat has had in his lifetime and tell the stories about these cats, the interesting stories. And I thought this could be something interesting I've never done. And I was like, I wonder how many cats I've had. So I started listing them. And I've had a lot. I didn't know it was this many. Now, some of them I'm including that were family cats, maybe you could say. But, that only adds maybe 4 cats to the list. So, but yeah, I think this will be a great subject today. So I want to do it. I got a lot of stories to tell, a lot of cat names, and I don't know. I think I can make this quite interesting, actually. I wasn't sure at first, and then as I started going, I'm like, oh yeah, I got something for that. I got something for that, and I'm like, these are like little stories in themselves, and they're interesting. So I'm going to share them with you. I thought I like to do different things. This is different. So we're going to go in chronological order as to the cats and each story, and that way it makes sense to you. And I can easily do a 30 on this, and it's going to be one of my best cat casts. I just have a feeling. So without further ado, I think I've introduced it enough. I think if you're interested in hearing about cats and stories, you're going to like it. Okay, so we're going to start with the first cat we got. This cat is named Mittens. Mittens is number 1. They're all going to have a number. Mittens is number 1. It's the first cat that I can remember having. Now, my family might have had cats before that, but this is the one I remember. So, Mittens came from the shelter. And how did we get Mittens? Well, we were living at my stepdad's house, and my mom saw a mouse. And that's all it took. I'm getting a cat. Went to the shelter. Pretty sure I went with her. I don't know if my sister did or not. She probably went too. And just picked out a cat. I don't know what my mom's criteria was for it. She might have wanted it declawed or healthy. I don't know. But it was a white and gray cat, spotted areas. And it came with the name Mittens. So I was probably, 4 years old, maybe 5. Anyways, Don got home, my stepdad, and he just like, what's with the cat? And mom's like, well, there were mice. Oh, okay. So we have a cat now? And mom's like, yeah, because I'm not going to live here with mice. And my dad's, I don't remember exactly, but I'm pretty sure my dad just had to say, okay. Yeah. I think he said something like, can't we get traps or something? And mom's like, nah, cat. Cat works the best. And it instilled right then a love for animals in me. And I don't know if that's why mom wanted the cat or not. But ever since, I've been a cat guy. That's when it started. When we got Mittens. And let me tell you, the mice were gone. My mom's like, cat's getting her foot stuck on the bench there. I think she wants to jump up here. You want up here? We're going to have a cat get up here. It's a cat show. It might as well get up here. Get up here. Come on. You can make that. Let's go. There we go. All right, we'll turn the light on so you can see her there. Anyways, she probably wants to go on the porch. She's gonna just leave. Probably. You want to go out there? You can go out there if you want. Anyways, we need to continue. Just go. There you go. I knew she was gonna go out there. All right. Sorry about the interruption, but it is cat related. That was Kitty. Okay. She is way down on the list. I can't tell you what number though, because that'll give away my list. And I want to keep a little stuff hidden. Anyways, we were talking about the mice. They were gone. Mice went bye-bye. Pretty sure she caught a few of them, and I think my mom showed the mice to Don, and he just said, I don't need to see him. Anyways, he was, my stepdad was not a big animal guy. I mean, he's fine with them, but he wasn't like wanting a pet really, but he was okay with a pet. He just didn't want to have to take care of it, but he was like fine with having it. He didn't make a deal about it at all, actually. And I like that. So that's how we got Mittens, and that's how Cat became a cat lover. So let's move forward. We got to Elkhart House, and I think that I wanted a cat of my own because I felt like Mittens was more Katie's cat, my sister. And I don't know how I ended up getting a cat. Pretty sure I wanted one though, and somehow I was able to get one. And how did we get Emily? A neighbor had a litter, and these were half Siamese cats. Now Siamese are known to be vocal cats, and but we were like pre-kitten, and so we got Emily. The reason I named it Emily, it didn't have a name, I got to name it, is it has an M on its forehead. And I was probably 6 at this point, but I didn't know how to spell. And I thought Emily, M. I thought Emily was spelled with an M. I knew alphabet a little bit, So that's why I named it Emily. Nobody said, well, Emily's not spelled with an M. It's spelled with an E. But nobody told me that. They liked the name. We went with Emily. Anyways, so we had a kitten. And kittens are much more active than older cats. And my stepfather, again, did not want to have anything to do with that cat, really. I mean, he was indifferent to it, Of course, I wanted attention from the cat, but as a child, cats really don't want anything to do with you because you're just too aggressive for their attention. But the people that don't care about the cat, that's who the cat wants the attention from. So Emily would wait for my stepdad to get home by the door, and when he'd come in, she'd try to attack him. Get out of me. I remember that, and my mom would talk about it. So we got her declawed as soon as we could. And she became a good cat, but she became more my mom's cat because Mom fed the cats. And I was like, why do the cats love you? Mom, they love you so much. Why don't they? She's like, well, I feed them, and I clean the litter box, and, that stuff. I'm like, oh, well, I don't want to clean the litter box, and I don't want to get up when you have to feed them. So I was like, okay, it can like you more. Anyways, Mittens ended up having an issue, and we took it out to Loveway. That was a therapeutic horseback riding place that my mom would volunteer at for disabled people, and we just let her go out there because she couldn't keep her something was wrong with her bladder, and she had a pee issue, and it was not something you could fix, but you could just let her be outside, and it wouldn't matter if she peed wherever, because she's outside. But she had the barn as protection. So my sister there was a stray cat that ended up coming around our house that was all black, and mom was feeding it, and then one day she opened the door. It was raining, and the cat just came in, and mom didn't want to make it go back out, and so we kept it in, and we named it Blacky because it was all black. Now we didn't really think much about that until later when you're calling the cat, "Hey Blacky, come here, Blacky, Blacky." It was a little bit of an issue. But we're going to move a little bit forward here with Blacky. Like I said, I got a story for all these cats. Our neighbor came over from across the street, and she was a black lady. Not that that matters, but she came over, I don't know, for some reason, and she just started screaming. We're like, what's wrong? What's wrong? Cat. I'm like, the cat? And the cat is, I think it's Blacky, is just looking at her like, what is wrong with her? You know, when you do that kind of stuff, the cat all perks up like, what is that person all freaked out about? And it's like, well, it's freaked out about you, actually, cat. But that, for some reason, when somebody starts doing that, cats are like, interesting. They don't leave then. Normally, if you didn't pay any mind, the cat will just stroll on by like no big deal, you know, turn the other way. But if you start making an issue, the cat's like, something's up here. I'm going to sit around. I'm going to wait and see what happens. Anyways, I think the lady actually got up on the piano bench, and we had to get the cat, like, and take it to the bathroom while she was there. And I don't think it was because the cat was black, you know. I think she had a phobia of cats. And, but if you do have that phobia, anytime you go to anybody's house that you've never been to, you should find out if they have cats before you even go in there. And then we'd be like, well, yeah, we have cats. If that's going to be an issue, we can try to find them, but sometimes we don't know where they're at, so they could show up at any time. But usually, if you don't pay them any mind, they don't even pay attention to you. They're not like a dog. All right. So that's Blacky. Let's move forward. That was really my sister's cat, but it was part of our family, so I'm counting it. So that's one that might not count. Also, Mittens might not count because that was family cat. But I have to tell you the story because it's important to tell you the first cat that, you know, instilled my love for cats, I guess. So Blacky was number 3. All right. Emily number 2. Mittens number 1. We're up to number 4. Number 4 was Miss Kitty. All right. Miss Kitty, named after the character in Gunsmoke. And it was a cat that my mom worked at a doctor's office, a family practice. And the lady that did their books found this cat out in the parking lot, and it was pregnant. And she put it in her office, and the doctor came in and said, you can't have that cat in here. We're a doctor's office. And she's like, well, I just wonder how much I want this job. And he didn't want to like have to lose the office manager. That'd be a big deal. He's like, how about you just take the rest of the day off and take the cat home? Is that okay with you? And she's like, yeah, that's acceptable. So she takes the cat home, and it has its kittens, and we actually get 2 more of those cats. We keep Miss Kitty, and we get Charlie Brown and Jabba. Okay, but I don't want to skip too far ahead. We need to continue a little bit more on Miss Kitty first before we talk about the next ones. But Miss Kitty was a black and white cow. A black and white spotted cat that looks like a cow. And she was really the first one that bonded with me because I was older at this point. I'm a teenager, and at that point I knew how to, you know, not like, you know, just let the cat come to you and be, you know, I gave it treats, and, you know, I'm taller now. It knows I'm not a little person, you know, a little kid, I mean. Anyways, she became my muse as I was a photographer, and I would photograph her laying upside down. I should get one of the pictures. I should have had that picture over here I could show you. But I had one where she's laying upside down on a chair, you know, and I printed that. She was my first subject in photography that I could easily take pictures of and and make great pictures. She was great at it, and I took her with me when I moved out and to my roommates, and we made a door. He had an attached porch that originally was not enclosed, but it was now enclosed, and it had a window though that separated the house from the porch. And we like to be in the air conditioning, but the cat wanted to, be out there where it could look out the windows, hear the birds, screened in and everything. It was pretty nice. So my friend made a cat door, that we opened that window and framed it out and everything and had the door so the cat could go in and out to the porch as it wanted. We had a little step thing out there that it could step to and a step on the inside, and it just jumped through there whenever it wanted to come in or out. And it loved that. Charlie Brown was a white cat with gray spots and mostly white. And I don't have a lot to say about him. I did use him as well for a lot of pictures. He was very regal, a very pretty cat. And I should have got the pictures. This would be good if I had the pictures right now. But I can't just go and get them. Maybe at the end I could go get the pictures and show you so I don't mess everything up. Anyways, he was a good cat, and but when I had him at my roommate's, he was not happy there, and he went outside of the litter box, and I told my roommate, well, I'm gonna have to give him back to Mom and see if he'll stop doing it at her house, and he did, and so that was good. But he had an unfortunate incident. My mom was just taking him to the vet to get like his routine checkup shots and stuff. He had a heart attack on the way there. He like freaked out for some reason. And of course, when my mom got there, the doctor could have, tried to revive him, but it would bring a lot of money, and who knows if it even would do anything. So that's how Charlie Brown was no more. And it's about all I can tell you about him. He was a good cat. I loved him, to tell you the truth. It was a sad way to go. Jabba. Jabba was originally named Della, and somebody could not keep Della anymore, and I took Della after Charlie Brown didn't want to live at my house. I was like, well, I need another cat, and so I got Della, but I didn't like the name Della, and so my friend said, that cat's got its tongue out all the time, you should call it Jabba the Cat. And I was like, yeah, I'm gonna do that right now. That cat is now Jabba the Cat. And I got pictures of the cat. Man, I should have had all this stuff. Maybe I'll just do another podcast where I show you all the pictures. You have to come back and see the pictures of all the cats. But I have one of Jabba the Cat with its tongue out because it would like to drink out of the faucet, in the bathroom. It liked it flowing and stuff. And you could get pictures real easy with its tongue out. And so that was Jabba the Cat. And Jabba the Cat was a long-haired cat. So I used to get it groomed like a lion. It would have a mane, and the elbows you would leave long, but you trimmed all the other hair, and then down to the tail, and you just left a little poof at the end of the tail. And it looked so cute, and it was much easier for the cat to take care of itself, because the cat used to get like mats, and I'd have to brush them or cut them out if they got real strong, real tight. And so I used to get the cat cut like that. So Jabba was real good at posing. Like I could take pictures of Jabba and I'd put Jabba somewhere, and she would just sit there and stare at me. So wherever I could take pictures of it. It was great. So one day I said, we were doing a picture of an RV camper unit, and we're trying to show these bunks that fold out as a hybrid camper. And instead of it's not a pop-up, but it's one that's like a travel trailer, but the bunk comes out like this. And we were showing off the cable supports and stuff. And we tried to put bedding on it and stuff, but I was like, man, it's not going to be much of a shot. I was like, what do you think if I bring my cat in here? I put my cat on the bed there. I said it will really give some attention and break this up. And I didn't think my boss would go for it, but he's like, yeah, let's do that. He said, I like it. So I got the cat at lunch, brought it back. I even brought my litter box and stuff so that after we were done using the cat, I just put it back in the bathroom, put a note on the door, and kept it there so I would just take it home, when I went home for the day instead of having to make another trip back. And I put the cat in there, and my boss was standing over to the side looking, and the cat kept looking that way because it didn't know my boss. So it was looking at him like, what's he doing? It wasn't worried about me. So I told my boss, I said, you got to come stand behind me so the cat will look right at us. Oh, and my boss is like, oh, okay. And he comes in and looks, bam, cat was looking right at us for the shot. Didn't move, perfect, So we used that cat. So I had this picture on the wallpaper of our laptop because I was like proud of it, And the guy from Wildcat comes in, and he's seen it up there because we were like calibrating the monitors. And he's like, hey, you put that cat in my unit? Because, my unit's called the Wildcat. And I was like, big old smile comes on my face, and I'm like, yes, we can. But you're going to have to ask my boss directly. He will never believe it if I tell him that you want to use the cat also. So he goes in there and he's like, hey, do you think you could put that cat in my unit too that was in that tent camper? And Ken looks over at me with this big smile and he's like, yes, of course we can. So I still have the brochure of the Wildcat, okay? And inside I have the picture here of the cat on the bed right there, as you can see. That's Jabba. Okay, so not only did the cat get in this one like that, I had zoomed in a picture, and the guy that did the design faded the picture out where they put copy and stuff, and there's the cat right there. That's Jabba. Isn't that cool? Model cat. A model cat. I had a cat that was a model. Yeah. Yep. Didn't get paid for it, though. Didn't get paid for it. I got paid, I guess. So that's Jabba the cat. We're going to move forward to Milo. Milo, how are we doing? Oh man, we're gonna run out of time. All right, we gotta jump these stories up faster. Milo was a ginger cat, an orange cat, and Jabba passed away due to she ended up having diabetes, and I gave her insulin for a while, but she ended up having an issue, and she passed away, and I wasn't going to get another cat. I had Miss Kitty still, but my boss's wife was like, well, my niece's friend has a cat, and they can't keep it because they got a dog, and the dog goes after the cat. And I said, well, okay, I'll take a look at it. She said it was a male cat, declawed in the front, and its name was Slider. And I said, okay, have her bring it in. So she brings it in, and I meet it, and it's just a beautiful ginger. And I'm like, yeah, I'll take it. I can't. If you bring a cat to me, pretty much no matter what, I'm like, yeah, I want it. So there was no way I could deny it after it came in. So I took it by my mom's real quick just to show her the cat. I said, I got a new cat. And Mom's like, oh, what a beautiful cat. And I said, I'm going to rename it. I said, I don't like Slider. They didn't tell me exactly why it was named Slider. I think because it would run and like slide on the wood or something. But I don't have hardwood or anything, so it never slid here. But I wanted to call it Morris at first, for Morris because it looked like Morris the cat. But you can't call a cat Morris. It doesn't sound right. Morris. I didn't want to say it. Milo, on the other hand, that sounds good. Milo, just rolls off the tongue. And then there was this movie, Milo and Otis, and it had an orange ginger in it. So I named it Milo. And Milo was probably the best cat I've ever had. Not to pick favorites, but Milo was a great cat. And the reason I really am glad I got him, that my boss's wife talked me into getting Milo, is because Miss Kitty ended up passing away. Not too long after I'd gotten Milo, I would have lost both my cats and not had another cat if I didn't get Milo. So I thanked her big time after that for talking me into getting, looking at that cat. I said, because that would have crushed me. Because I already had a relationship then with Milo. The reason I took Milo straight home is I knew he was a freaky cat, and it took a long time to bond with him. But by the time Miss Kitty passed, I had bonded with him. But it took a while. He was hiding for a long time. He would just hide, but he finally started coming around. And anyways, I just had him for quite a while. Then my friend Chris, I actually got 3 cats from Chris, but 2 of them went to my mom. We'll talk about them. We're going to do another thing on cats, so we'll run out of time. We'll have to do a second cat podcast, or we just go long. I don't know. Could just go long, I guess. Anyways, we're going to go to Jinx first. Jinx was an all-black cat, and very pretty cat. It was a girl cat, and he couldn't keep the cat because he was moving. And I only had Milo, and I'm like, he didn't have anybody else to take it. And I was like, all right, I'm taking it then. Bring it over. I didn't want it to go to the shelter. So we brought it over, and it became a great cat, this black cat. And it had a collar on with a bell. And so whenever it would come around, I would know which cat it was by that bell. But one time, I noticed its mouth was weird. And I'm like, what's going on there? And then the thing had gotten shredded a little bit, and her teeth had gotten caught in there, and was like a bit in her mouth, and she couldn't like work her mouth right. And I took it off immediately, and I was like, no more collars on my cats, because I was like, well, I never used collars because they're inside cats, but I didn't take it off because I liked the little bell on it. But then I've read, that's really annoying to a cat. You imagine walking all the time and there's always a jingle? I'm like, that would be annoying. So, yeah, that's Jinx. Let's go to Han Solo. Han Solo. After Jinx passed, I got Han Solo, and he was a white cat. He came a white with some brown spots here and there, but mostly white. Han Solo was a long hair, so we would trim him like a lion as well. And the neat thing about him, he loved getting his hair cut. I know because after he would come home, he'd be running all over the place because he's like, I'm free. I got all that hair out. I can move. And I noticed that. So I asked the groomer, I said, does he like to get his hair cut? And she goes, yeah. She's like, yours is probably the only cat that likes it, but doesn't fight it. Just sits there like, get it done and I'm ready to go. And, yeah, he likes it. He's the only cat ever. That's Han Solo. All right. Now we're to Boba Cat. All right. This is, of course, Boba Cat. All right. And one of my friends, after Han Solo, he said he was watching some show, and they asked, "Oh, we see your cat." And this was like a sci-fi guy, I think it's a podcast, sci-fi guy. And they said, "What's your cat's name?" And he said something like Whiskers. And, "Oh, we thought it'd have a cool sci-fi name." And he goes, "Oh yeah, I meant Boba Cat." And my friend's like, "Dude, next cat you get, name it Boba Cat." And I'm like Boba Fett? He's like, "Yeah, Boba Cat." And I was like, "Yeah, I'll do that. I won't even. Not only will I do that, I said I'll Photoshop the cat's head onto Boba Fett's body." And that's what I did. And right now, Boba Cat is keeping my mom company. Isn't that nice? Until she gets Cleo. That's going to be her next cat. All right, let's continue. Let's continue. I have to get these all done, okay? So Boba Cat is still around. Boba Cat is still kicking it, baby. Oh, yeah, Boba Cat. We're going to go to Callie now. Now, Callie was my stepdad's mom's cat, all right? And when when his mom passed, he promised her that we would take care of the cat. He said we. He meant my mom. Anyways, we of course did take the cat. He was never, he tells his mom something, he's gonna keep his word, and he's like, "We're keeping the cat." And I even said, well, she originally got that cat from us, remember, because her cat passed, and she was hanging out on Christmas, and the cat, Callie, hung out with her all day, and she said, "I don't want to break up. It's hard to do these." She said, "I think that cat's wants to be with me." And my dad's like, "I think it wants to too. Yeah, yep. You want that cat? I think it wants to be with you." He said, "We'll take it home when you go home. You're taking that cat home." And my mom and me were like, "Yeah, that's fine. We do that," because we wanted her to get another cat. She just didn't want to because it hurt her so much when Smokey passed. But I'm like, um, that's you get over a cat by having another cat. So Callie was really good for my grandma, and even my stepdad's sister Sandy would realize that, because she cared so much about the cat, my grandma, and she'd let it have her rocker. She'd be like, "Nope, cat can have the rocker." And she fed Callie quite well. She was pretty big, but it was the perfect fix. So, anyways, my we get her, and of course, my dad is who she loves. It's like grandma went into the cat, and that cat wanted to be around Don. It would talk to him, meow, 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 and it would get up on the armrest, and he would pet it. Now, only for like 5 minutes, but that's more than my stepdad ever did with hardly any animal I've ever seen in my life. He would pet that cat. Now, it sometimes would come back after like 5 minutes, and he'd be like, "I just pet you 5 minutes ago." The other thing that was funny is he never let an animal get anywhere near him when he was eating. But this cat would sit on the armrest and he would let it. But it knew not to mess with him when he was eating, or he would make it get down. So he taught that cat to just sit there when he's eating. I was like, wow, I never knew my dad had that kind of power in him, but he made it happen. Okay, so occasionally my mom had to go and was not around to do the things for the cat, and I always would take care of the litter box. But he would even feed the cat bowl if the cat bowl was empty. Well, because the cat would keep meowing, he'd be like, "Oh, something's wrong." He'd go out there, see there's no food, and he'd put food in the bowl. Or if there was no water, he'd put water in the bowl. And I didn't think my dad would ever do that. And I was like, wow, that's impressive, you know. So he did actually participate in taking care of the cat. And he gave it a lot of love. A lot of love. It loved hanging out with him because he was always around there, and it would just, hang out in the room with him basically, so it wasn't alone. And that's pretty cool. So I got Callie after Dad passed because I loved Callie also, and I wanted to have her because it was part of Dad, it was part of Grandma, and but she was getting up in age, which was sad because I wanted to have her for a while, but it wasn't too much long far a year, and she started having health issues, and she was going downhill. So I was like, I gotta get another cat because she may die on the weekend. I was so sure she was gonna die, and I was like, I want to get another cat. So I went out there, and they said they didn't have any cats that were declawed, but then we found one back there that it said front declawed, and this cat was named Butters, and it was like all gray like Boba, except instead of yellow eyes, it had green eyes. And I'm like, well, I said it's declawed. Let's see what if it likes us. And we took it back there, or we took it into the meat room, and yeah, it seemed like it was cool with me. So I took it home, and lo and behold, Callie lived like another month. Okay, so but then when she passed, I was like, oh, because it really hurt then, because I didn't think she was going to make it that long. So then after a month, I'm like, well, she's probably going to make it a while. But then there was like one day when it was like, I don't think she's going to make it. It just real fast drop off. And then the day when she passed, I was like, I have to get another calico. I have to get another calico, even though I'd already got another cat. So I looked on the internet and at the shelter, and they had a calico named Violet. And not only that, it was a Munchkin. That's a teeny tiny cat that never gets big, and it looks like a kitten almost pretty much its whole life. It's a Canadian breed. They're $1,500 if you want to buy them. So I went straight to the shelter right after I buried Callie. I went straight to the shelter, and I said, "Do you have Violet? Can I visit?" Yeah, they said you can go, and they brought her in with me and started purring right away. She did her little chirp, and she was so cute and adorable. Most of you have seen her that know of her because I do reels and stuff with her, and so I took her, and I didn't like the name Violet at all, and I thought I'll call her Cali-too, but like Too, like Callie also. But I just call her Callie instead of Cali-too. I said Callie. And that really helped having her. And because it was like I still had that calico. So Butters ended up passing. And I was like, I'm getting another cat. Even though I've usually just been a two-person cat, I'm like, I don't know. I wanted another one. So I went and got Tigger. Now Tigger was a long-haired cat, and but he was really skinny. And they said that the people had dropped him off because they couldn't afford to feed him. I'm like, oh, okay. Well, anyways, I thought maybe it was diabetes because I had Jabba, and Jabba had diabetes and had gotten real skinny, kind of like this. And I asked them, well, did you test the cat for diabetes? And they're like, well, we can't do that here. So I was like, all right, I'll get an appointment with my vet. So I called up to get an appointment with my vet, and they're booked up for a while, I had the cat for a week or two before I went. I had to go back for a shot for her, and that's when I asked them about the diabetes thing, because I was like, she should be putting weight on by now, and she had gained a little because they weighed her, and they're like, well, she's put on some, or he has. It was a he. He's put on some, and so they said, no, he's probably okay. But I said, well, I'm still going to get an appointment. And that's when I made the appointment. So it was a little bit after I had had the cat. And so a couple weeks, they couldn't get me in right away, but I got an appointment. And a couple weeks after that, I came home and I was looking for Tigger, and he had passed. And I was like, darn. So this was on a Friday, and I was like, well, I got to get another cat. I just like, you know how I am. Instantly, new cat. So I went over there, and I told them the cat died. They're like, it died? And I'm like, yeah, it died. Oh, well, we want you to get another cat, but we're almost closing. Can you just pick the cat from the tablet? Just pick out one. We'll bring it out here to have you check it real quick. And I said, well, that dark calico there, that one looks awfully cute. She said, oh, yeah, I'll bring that one right out to you. And we had the best experience I've ever had with the cat. It purred, it crawled all over me, and I was like, oh, wow, this one's like meant to be my cat. So I took Kitty home, and that's the big fat one that you guys see, which is now probably the best cat I've ever had because of its personality. And it's because it's a young cat, and I've always had older cats, but this cat has a lot of energy, and it's just the best. And man, we went over time to get through all these, and I still have a little more to tell you. Oh well, we'll finish it up here in just a few minutes. What else did I want to say? Well, I wanted to give you all the numbers basically. So Miss Kitty was 4, Charlie Brown was 5, Jabba was 6, Milo was 7, Jinx was 8, Han Solo was 9, Boba Cat is 10, Callie 11, Butters 12, Cali-too 13, Tigger 14, Kitty 15. I've had 15 cats, plus or minus 3, if you don't want to count the family cats. My mom had a few cats that after that, she took one of her friend's cats that was all white, and we named it White Sox because Don, my stepdad, liked the White Sox. They were his favorite baseball team. Then my friend Chris needed us to take another cat. That's the one I got Jinx from. And this one was named Samantha. It was a gray cat, very, very pretty cat. And so we took that one because it needed a home. My mom took it. And it became a very, very good cat for her. It slept with her a lot, became like one of her best cats. Well, my friend Chris needed me to take, I think, his sister's cat this time. And he had moved to Michigan by this time, so he was coming down for a visit, and he just brings the cat before I'd asked Mom about it. And I'm like, whoa, I got to make sure Mom's willing to take the cat. And so I got a hold of my mom, and she's like, well, yeah, let me see it. And so we took it over there, and thank goodness she was willing to take it. Because I was like, oh man, he brought it, and it's like, so we took a third cat from him, and that became, again, one of my mom's best cats. Would sleep with her at night, would put its arm over her like you're not going anywhere. When my mom's reading at night, it was like right on her shoulder, So that was a really good situation for her to get that cat. And then she got Kiwi. Now here's how she got Kiwi. So our neighbors, my mom's neighbors on the corner, had a cat that was their son's. And the wife there is allergic. So they had it in their basement. And, that was really no place for the cat to live, they couldn't really give it attention and stuff. So I went over there, and of course, as soon as I seen it, I'm like, I'm taking it. I'm taking it right now. And I picked it up, and I actually hit my head on the ceiling. I was in such a hurry to take the cat, and I kind of went like this, and the cat's like right into me with its claws. I'm like, oh. But I'm like, and the husband's like, "You sure? You want to take it right now? You just met it. You sure?" I'm like, "Yeah, oh yeah." I said, "I don't. As soon as I meet a cat, I know." I said, "Yep, we're taking this cat." I start going back over to my mom's house, walking with the cat. Mom's like, What happened?" I said, "I got you a cat." She's like, "Well, I thought you were just going to check on it." I said, "Yep, I checked it. It's good to go." "It was perfect, Mom." I said, "What do you need to know?" "It's got green eyes and it's beautiful. It's a little fat. We need to get some weight off it." It was pretty fat because it was down in the basement. It had no activity. We saved its life bringing it to our house, actually. And my mom loved that cat. That became her new reading cat, okay? That was her reading cat. I knew it was going to be a good cat. I am awesome at it. This one had an Egyptian face. It was a beautiful, beautiful cat. Beautiful. And I was like, yeah, we are taking this cat because it was living in a basement. I was like, this is no life. There was one window. I was like, this is no life for a cat, down here in this murky old basement, because it wasn't a nice basement either. So, but that was the only place they could put the cat, because she's allergic. So you couldn't have it anywhere, really. I wanted to get it out of there, give it a good life, and we did. So then she got Wally. And the story of Wally is I was in the backyard, her backyard, and I heard meow, meow, little meows, really, and I'm like, that's kitten meows. That's tiny kitten meows. And behind our steps to our sun porch, there were two kittens. And I told Mom about it, and she came out right away and got them. Because she's a member of the Feral Cat Club, and she's going to make sure they got taken care of. Not put down, but, spayed and neutered. Anyways, they brought them back, and Wally would not go back outside. Like, he was scared, and he was like a runt. And my mom's one friend was trying to catch the cat, because I guess it got free in the house, and my mom's like, "What are you doing?" And her friend's like, "Well, I'm going to catch the cat." She's like, "You're not going to catch that cat. It's freaked out now." She said, "We might as well just let it stay in here." And that's what happened. And that's how she got Wally. And Wally did eventually attach to her, like at the hip. And that was, he was a weird kitty, but she loved him quite well. And we had a nice service for him today. We had a real nice service. So that is the history of cats. And can you believe it? Let's add up with Mom, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20 cats if we add Mom's cats in there too. So quite an impressive list of cats. All right. We're going to end the show because we're way over time. Longest podcast ever. But you now know the name of every cat I've ever had. And a story behind them, too. Jabba cha. Thanks for hanging out with me. I love talking to you guys. We'll see you again tomorrow for another excellent podcast. Jabba cha. Be there.